Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harris and I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we have a discussion on the reading that I have been doing this week. So I have I finished one book and I've started another this week. I haven't read like a full book, although I did read a lot of the first book that I'm going to talk to you guys about, which is The Shadow Rising by Robert Jordan, which is the fourth book in the Wheel of Time. Yeah, book four. Just checking this mine out here. Love this book. I've already posted a non-spoiler review for this one. So the way that I do the non-spoiler reviews for Wheel of Time is that I don't spoil the book that I'm discussing and the future books, but I do spoil previous books in kind of a we have to talk about the setup sort of way, if that makes sense. So, yeah, really enjoyed this one. I think Jordan is really flexing on us with the history stuff by showing us kind of the history of the world that he has built and kind of really, really well thought out. And kind of really starting to illustrate the concept of the wheel turning and the ages changing and the way that kind of history is kind of resetting. Absolutely love this one. Really, really looking forward to reading the next one. Just a great book overall. I gave this 5 stars. I think I've now given 3 Wheel of Time books in a row 5 stars, and they are all excellent. But yeah, this one, really, really loved it. Next up, I started reading Demon in White. So I am 250 pages into Demon in White. I would have been a little bit more, honestly, through this one, but I went to the cinema last night, so I basically lost an entire evening of reading. This one is great so far. So the first Sunita book, Empire of Silence, I kind of read and I liked it less as the book went on. And then in the second book, I was very much like, oh, this is fine. And then I liked it more as the book went on. And it ended up being a really strong book for me, especially with the stuff dealing with the Brethren and the Quiet and things like that. So really interested in what was going on there. But this one so far is basically everything I wanted in a Sunita book. So we've got intergalactic politics. We have got sci-fi action. We have got actual galaxy traveling, space travel. And on top of that, we have characters that I know and love. And we have a universe that I feel is genuinely really interesting. So far, this is a 5 out of 5, my favourite book in the series. I have previously leaned towards Rocchio's short fiction, as I feel like he's really good at telling those short stories and giving you that view of the Sunita world and giving you those extra perspectives. And a lot of me does wish that the Sunita books were third-person multi-POV. However, I am loving this book so far, and I wonder if it's because it almost feels like we've had like a couple of shorter arcs kind of in a row. So yeah, I don't really know how I'll feel when I finish it. I'm on a chapter that is called Lions, so that's fun. There were lions already in the book. I'm a third of the way through now because it's about 750 pages and I've read 250. Expecting to read another at least 100 or so today. Really enjoying this one. I have made a couple of changes to the schedule, so for what I'm going to be reading in future. So I did talk about in the TBR that in the TBR I was like, oh, these are the 7 books that I want to try and read. I've picked a couple of short books and all that sort of jazz, but I've made a slight change and I have added a book to the TBR because it is Andrew Watson's Discord book club for the patrons and the Discord. That is The Tainted Cup, which I picked up as a Kindle book because the hardback is still very expensive and I've already bought one expensive hardback this year. So anyway, so The Tainted Cup is a... oh, by the way, we're talking about what I'm going to read next now, because we've done what I've been reading. So The Tainted Cup is a Sherlock Holmes and Watson style murder mystery. And I think it's... I don't know whether it's a locked door mystery or not, but I don't really know what's going on with it, to be honest. I try and stay clear of these sorts of things. What I understand is that it is in a world that is kind of inspired by Attack on Titan, where there's kind of like giant kaiju monsters roaming the world. So yeah, excited to read this one. I have decided to read... So I was going to originally read Fires of Heaven straight after Demon in White, because I was worried, because this month I had let The Wheel of Time languish until the last book of the month, and then I was struggling to finish it in April, and I didn't want that to happen this month. But what I decided was I would pick the 2 shortest books in the TBR and put them in front. So I will still be reading Fires of Heaven, and I might even start this next week, because both of the books that I want to read in between are quite short. So Amazon says Tainted Cup is roughly an 8-hour read on Kindle. And I've also got Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. And I don't hold books this thin up to the camera very often. So this is only 200 pages. It's under 200 pages, I think. Yeah, it's under 200 pages. This is the sort of thing that I would probably read in a single evening. Pretty excited to read this one because I do love the film. And Murphy Napier has absolutely raved about this. So basically the plan for next week is finish Demon in White, if I haven't bought... So when I think about next week, I think about like Monday onwards. But I do have the weekend. So I'll probably finish Demon in White, I would say Monday, Tuesday. Then I've got these 2. So I'll be reading Tainted Cup first, because this one is a fantasy. And as you guys know, we try and swap backwards and forwards, sci-fi, fantasy, to number 1, ensure that we're reading an equivalent amount of both. And number 2, to make sure that I don't get burned out on reading by swapping genre. So after these 2, which I legitimately think I'll be able to read this in a single evening. And this is probably a couple of days. 2 or 3 days, then it will be The Fires of Heaven. But I was thinking this morning, as I was getting ready for the day, getting your morning shower in and whatnot, I was like, actually, do I want to go straight from Wheel of Time, Sun Eater, Wheel of Time? That's a little oppressive in terms of book length. And I think that reading these 2 next will give me a bit of... give me some distance between Wheel of Time books, and also kind of let me I don't know, I'll have 3 books under my belt already for the month when I get to Wheel of Time. So I feel like it'll pull the pressure away from me. And one of the things that I actually have found in the past is that when I've been reading long books early in the month, I've been like, I don't have enough to make content, or I don't have enough to talk about, or I haven't read enough books this month. And I kind of work myself into a position where I start forcing myself to read quicker than I am comfortable reading. And then, so basically, for my sanity and for the quality of these videos, we're going to wait like a week to start Fires of Heaven. Really looking forward to it though. Absolutely no idea what's going to happen in it. Somebody in the comments for my The Shadow Rising review said that The Fires of Heaven is the start of the slog, which is absolutely not what I have heard. I've heard that it's like 8, 9, 10 are like the slog books. But people also said that Either World was rubbish, and that it was like a 2-3 star book. And I thought that was a 4-star. And so you guys know that I can be generous in my ratings when I like something, and when something really piques my interest, and when I'm surprised by it. So I kind of feel like Fires of Heaven I'm going to love. Darko, actually, from Kindles and Kicks, said that Fires of Heaven was his favourite. So the fact that people are saying that the book is their favourite, and people are saying that it's the start of the slog, quite funny, really. Next up, let's talk about the videos and the channel for the week. So this week on the channel, we had 6 videos, kind of, actually, because we had a bonus video, which was about how I make YouTube videos. So if you want to look behind the scenes, behind the lens, as it were, I actually filmed a full video of how I make my videos. So from filming to editing to thumbnails, uploading, all of that. And I showed you how I do it quickly and cheaply. So one of the big things that stopped me from doing BookTube was that when I had tried in the past, I tried like, before my son was born, I tried to start a YouTube channel, and it took me like a full day to film a video and a full day to edit and get it up. And that was just not sustainable. Whereas if I had a full day to make content, honestly, I could make a month's worth of videos, because that's just how my process is kind of regimented and organized and quick and efficient. But yeah, so then Monday's video was the TBR. Tuesday's video was my April wrap up, and it was a bit of a fun one because I had basically only read one book. I finished one Hangover book from March, and I started one book which I finished the day that the recap went up, but I had already recorded it in the past. So my book of the month did end up being The Shadow Rising, to surprise no one. Next up after that was the Shadow Rising review. We're getting deeper into the Wheel of Time now, which is why I think that less people are watching these videos. My TBR video was the most successful from last week, 126 views as of time of recording. Wandering In Read Along was up next. In that video, I discussed my plans for the future of that read along. So if you are a Wandering In fan and you've caught up, then might be worth giving that one a watch. The subscriber gain for this week was pretty good, I feel like, or maybe last week was good. Yeah, I think last week was good. This week we only got 10 subscribers in the last week. 10's like the minimum that I'm happy with nowadays, because that's not even 2 a day. And I know they come in fits and starts and sporadically. And I've had a few really good weeks of content, which is why they've been coming in. And this week's probably a little dry, but we'll ignore that and we'll carry on. So what am I recording next week? So I currently have no idea what I'm making next week because I don't have a finished book to discuss. So I don't have Demon in White ready to review. I will likely be able to finish this for review for Tuesday or Wednesday, but I don't have it finished yet. And then after that, obviously I've got 2 short books, which will be great for future review content. However, those short books are not... those short books won't be ready for review until I've read them, which will probably be the week after. So the one idea that I did have is I've seen quite a few good movies this year, so I thought I'd do like my top movies of Q1. I know this is a BookTube channel, but I feel like everybody loves movies. I don't know. And then maybe we will do 2 bonus. Maybe we'll do a bonus Wandering In episode, and hopefully I'll finish Demon in White in time to review that. So that's the current thought process for next week. I had also thought about going through the 2023 Fantasy Bingo card because I'd wanted to do the 2024 one, but realised it didn't start until April, and I only read like 1 and a bit books in April. So like 2 technically. I read 2 books in April, so I didn't really have much to fill out the card with. But I thought that I could retroactively try and fill out the 2023 card. If that sounds fun to you guys, maybe I'll swap that out for one of the videos. If you're interested in my top movies, let me know, and I will make that video. That's everything, I think. So yeah, I do at some point eventually I will probably redo my top fantasy series list, but I haven't finished Wheel of Time, and that could go on there, and there's a lot of other books that I am kind of in the middle of, and my top sci-fi stuff would just be like the 5 sci-fi series I've read, so hard to make that video until I've read more sci-fi really. Maybe I could do a why you should read for some other video, for some stuff that I've reviewed early on in the channel's history, because those videos are not as good as these ones, because I'm not as practiced. So that could be fun. I am trying to line up some spoiler discussion stuff with Matt, and hopefully I'll be able to do a Demon in White one with Ross if he's free, but I'm not going to hedge my bets and plan my week on it. Anyway, thanks so much everyone for watching today's video. If you have liked this video, give it a like. If you would like to tell me what you've been reading this week, or what you're planning to read next, or what you think of any of the books that I've talked about today, then drop down in the comments and let me know. And always subscribe, because I love getting new subscribers and it makes me feel happy. Thanks so much for watching, and I will speak to you on Monday.